I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. I am Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
I'm Tristan Miller, the saucy sleuth.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/ADCpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a free title and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/ADCpod. And there's a lot of books you could be reading now. Read all the books. We have so much time. Listen to all the books. And apparently Audible just made hundreds of titles free at the moment.
That's nice.
I think mostly children's. So if you got some kiddos at home, maybe go check that out. Get them some literature knowledge stuff.
I'm in the middle of Room to Dream, which is this very interesting exclusive to Audible about David Lynch. It's part biography, part him rambling into a microphone. It's really, really interesting because basically the biographer will take a chapter on a part of his life and then they'll have asked him like what stories he remembers from that time. It's actually very interesting. It's like a audio biography and a biography, but he's like, I knew this man, Jimmy Two Tones, or whatever it is. It's wild.
Oh my God, fascinating.
Yeah, very interesting man. So
what was the name again? What name of it?
Room to Dream.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also 15 hours, so worth it.
God, okay.
There's also, I haven't listened to the Audible version, though I might during this quarantine. The book The War on Normal People by Andrew Yang and narrated by Andrew Yang.
Oh.
The War on Normal People, the truth about America's disappearing jobs and why universal basic income is our future.
Oh. That sounds fascinating.
7 hours. Yeah.
7 hours? That's a nice crisp. Playing Animal Crossing, listening to a book, chilling.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about him as a narrator. I'm going to have to listen to a sample first, but...
Yeah, that's always like... When authors read their own stuff and they don't hire a voice actor, I'm always apprehensive.
Yeah. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
No.
Looking at you, Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, no.
Whereas I would say
Called out.
Dave Barry reads his own books. Like, it's not as good as a narrator, but he knows what he's doing because he's a humor writer. So he gets it. And like for Bernie's book, he reads it and it's like in his own voice to a point where like you can't help but read it then anyway. So it's like, who else could do this? But yeah.
Fascinating. All right. Today we are doing episode 3 because the first 2 episodes were a 2-parter. We're doing episode 3 of season 1 of Murder, She Wrote.
Ida.
And starring Angela Lansbury as Jessica Fletcher. It's called Deadly Lady is the episode title.
It's true.
So, we have a dark and stormy night. It's very, very stormy. And Jessica's friend comes over and checks in on her. And she's like, I'm fine. I don't know what's wrong with you. And he's like, all right, sounds good. See you later. So the next morning... Jessica's out for, I don't know, a run or doing something charming. And she comes back and she finds a man who's in her garden. And she's like, hi, can I help you? And he just starts...
His name is Ethan, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Ethan, yes.
And then Sheriff Tupper.
Sheriff Amos Tupper, played by Tom Bosley.
Yes.
Who had a show of his own called Father Dowling for a while. Yes.
And he was on Happy Days.
He was also on Happy Days much earlier. And then in the original Broadway cast of Beauty and the Beast, he played Maurice, Bella's
That's very
dad.
fun.
Yes. Why do I know this much about Tom Bosley? I don't know. It was just a weirdly significant part of my childhood.
Well, that's good.
So, yes, Amos Tupper, the sheriff. And if you've seen John Oliver's recent bit about sheriffs, It makes you long for an Amos Tupper,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to any of those other guys. Anywho, so yes, she's coming back from doing something charming, and this guy is in her garden and tending to her plants, and he's like, I don't know, this yard has really gone to seed. I didn't do that on purpose, and the house needs a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's all right. I mean, I'm a little offended. I do try to keep up the place, but I guess you're right. Who are you?
How dare you come into my house or near my house?
Yeah, basically. But she's very polite about it. And he says, my name is Ralph, and I don't have much money, but I would like a spot of breakfast. But I'd love to do some chores because you need a whole lot of work in exchange for meals. And she says, well, I appreciate that. That seems fair. And she invites this man into her house for eggs. And I am sitting there the entire time wondering why someone who is such a smart lady and a crime writer would ever invite a stranger into their house.
That is something that occurred to me as well.
I was just like, she knows enough. Like, I'm sure she like has it figured out. Like, she's probably figured out like 6 ways to disarm him if he is a murderer. That's just how I.
Well,
yeah.
Also, through the course of the breakfast, it's revealed that like he's not a hobo, and so I think she got that right away. So I think that's part of it. Right.
She like sees his watch tan and his perfectly tailored clothes.
Yeah.
Which
he's new to this.
Yeah. Well, if you saw also his shirt, you're like, is that perfectly tailored? Okay, I guess.
Different standards then, I guess.
But
90s? 80s?
80s, I believe?
I think this is, yes.
1984.
Oh, 84? Really? That early?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There were like 18 episodes, like 18 seasons of this show.
Yeah, it went on for a very long time.
Yeah, and like judging by all the outfits of the ladies that show up later, it's very much the 80s.
It is definitely the 80s, yes.
Huge glasses.
Huge. Just the size of their faces. But
stand next to each other. Each one gets one glass.
Yeah.
Like a submariner's helmet.
It's just one giant lens. Covers the whole face. But yeah, Jessica's picking up that this guy's lying to her, but it's kind of about weird things. It seems kind of harmless. Like, why are you lying about this weird detail? Kind of thing. And he kind of gets caught in his lies and is like, well, you're right. I'm pretty new to this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. And then she gets, he also tells her that he's read her book and, that she's just the best writer ever, which goes throughout this series. She says, listen, you haven't read this one because that's an copy. So that's another weird thing that she catches him in. But she gets a phone call from Amos Tupper, right? It's from the sheriff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good old Sheriff Amos Tupper.
That's right. And he says, Jessica, there's been an incident down at the docks. Someone has fallen overboard from
They can't get up.
And they can't get up. and please come down. I need your help. Which, this is the first time we get a Cabot Cove mystery, right? Like, this is the first time that we're in her hometown solving something. The first one was like in New York City, right? Or like off on a
it's like
off in the
Martha's
suburbs. Vineyard,
I think.
Oh, that's right. They moved there. They originally go to New York, but then they go off to. That's right. So yeah, they're actually in Cabot Cove, Maine, where this happens surprisingly frequently. And you get the sense that Amos Tupper calls Jessica Fletcher all the time.
I was just like, she's just like a consulting detective, which is interesting.
Like Poirot.
Yeah, which
have
is
a less
like
contentious Jap Poirot relationship.
Right, because Jap she doesn't insert, well, sometimes she inserts herself, but she...
I would say during the course of this episode, she does a lot.
Oh, for sure. But the initial call is from the sheriff.
Yeah, so it's his own darn fault.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, continue, Tyler, please.
She gets down to the dock, and was that also Ethan there? That was...
Yeah, he's just everywhere.
He's a captain.
Kind of questioning like why she's there, like why she was called, and like they both have advice on her, like opinions and advice on her being there and what she should be doing and how this all should be, dealt with. And she's just like, "Can you just take me to the boat, please? Like I don't have time for this. There's a possible murder. Like can we focus?" So they take her to the boat. She gets Tupper is like, explaining the situation, and she's like, "Can I meet the daughters first? Like, you're being terribly rude." So he apologizes, and I was like, "No, like you're at a crime scene. Like, there's no need to apologize for you trying to walk her through the state of things." But okay. So we get introduced to the daughters one by one, each pretty much sharing like the same personality.
Much
except
like
for
the
one
in Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're mostly indistinguishable from each other.
You got youngest, you got glasses, you got blonde with husband.
Yes.
Exactly.
So she introduced like the murder, like this is the first time that they have like really dealt with other humans other than the sheriff after finding out that their father is dead. And here is Jessica Fletcher talking about "Oh, that's a lovely sweater. Did you knit that yourself?" I'm like, girl, their father just died. Like, can we be cool for a minute?
Yeah. And it was a very interesting sweater. It was
not that great.
No, it wasn't that great. But
I don't recall the sweater, though. The sweater that Jessica wears is very, very nice.
Oh yeah,
like a very fun cardigan, nautical themed. She has some pretty dope fits throughout. She was wearing at one point. She wears denim on denim. It's dope.
Yeah, and she pulls it off.
Very few people have.
That's right. But if anyone can, it's Jessica Fletcher.
It seems.
Anyway, the sisters are now filling Jessica in on the events of the night. How they knew that there was a storm coming, but given the location of where they are, like the storms never really make it up that far north. So they thought they'd be fine. And apparently by the time they realized their mistake, it was too late.
He had fallen overboard.
Yeah. They had gone to check up on him because they realized that he wasn't in the cabin with the rest of them. They get, I think it was Lisa, one of the girls, saw him. Says that she saw him get swept overboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Nancy, we got Maggie, we got Grace, and we got Lisa. Those are the names of the ladies.
Great.
So, Amos isn't quite sure about the story that the girls are telling, and Ethan accuses the sheriff at one point of reading too many of Jessica's novels, to which he says, "Shows you how much you know. I haven't read any." I was like, wow. Way to be a dick right in front of Jessica.
She just does not care.
Yep.
He likes two things. He likes fishing and breathing.
That's all we know about him.
Then offers to let the sisters stay at her house. They decline, and they're like, "No, we have money. We'll stay in a B&B."
Yes.
They might as well just have slapped her across this face and called her an idiot.
Really might as well have. They were not gracious at all in declining her offer. So then Jessica, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Oh no. Wait, I lost it. It's fine. Please continue.
Jessica goes home and finds Ralph asleep in her hammock and just like listening to music, and she's just like, okay, don't you have work to do? So they have like a cup of tea, and like he goes like to do some like chores, I guess, or like other work for other people.
Oh.
And as Jessica's washing up like after tea, she like has an epiphany somehow that the sisters are lying. So
Yes.
Ethan, Jess, and the sheriff get together to pay the sisters a little visit.
Also,
go ahead.
He makes a phone call. He's made a phone call to Paris, not Texas, but another place.
The one in France?
Not the one in France, in the States. Somewhere.
Oh, okay. That's right.
And also she bequeaths him a pipe that used to belong to her now deceased husband.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
So they go to the B&B where the sisters are staying, right?
And they meet with all the sisters except for Nan, who has like disappeared, but like they're like nobody fears that she's in danger, but like they don't know where she is currently.
Seems to be something that happens frequently because she's the youngest and a little bit nuts.
So Jessica applies like the teeniest bit of pressure while questioning the sisters, and then Maggie just outright confesses.
Yeah, she says that she shot her father, and
twice,
and then that he fell overboard, and they arrest her because she confessed to murder.
And Jessica is like still very unsure if this is quite the case. Like you can just tell in her face in this part of the episode that she is just like, there's more going on here.
Yep.
I think like they're taking her out, like she's being arrested and she's being taken out of the B&B when like there's like a few press people that arrive, right? Or have I jumped?
Oh,
I believe you've jumped.
Okay.
The next thing I remember, at least, you're fine. The next thing I remember is that Jessica goes home and is doing dishes and then sees the drain in the sink and has one of her mini epiphanies and goes to her friend Ethan in the boat and is like, look at this on his map. And then they go back to the B&B for another parlor reveal because it turns out they were in the eye of the storm at that time. There's no way it could have been stormy. No, wait, that's before. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. You explained the epiphany that I was talking about earlier much better than I did because I didn't explain it. I just said she had an epiphany.
All right, sorry. But I don't know what happens next.
You're good. So I do believe that the press have arrived. I could be wrong in that. And like by press, I mean like the local reporter.
Yeah. The one from the Cabot Cove newspaper.
Yeah. And I think it's the gentleman that's covering the story. No, this is like an afternoon or possibly day later when Jessica's interrupted by like this reporter. She's out with Ethan, I believe. Yeah, she's out with Ethan and gets interrupted by the reporter who has gotten the story like pretty much wrong. And he goes to show Jessica Fletcher what he's printed, and she looks at the picture that he attached to his article that he wrote up. And Jessica's like, wasn't this dead man that we've been discussing, like, was he an actor before he was a millionaire business owner?
And
The
yeah,
reporter's like, yeah, this is from an autobiography in the library.
right, like 20 some odd years ago.
Yeah.
And she then runs back to her house because she's like, I know who that is. He's in my house. He's just hanging out on my hammock, maybe doing some weeding in my garden. Edging my hedges.
Ooh, let's keep it PG here.
Ooh. And
yeah.
Ethan thinks she's making it all up because apparently she gets overexcited and makes stuff up, which is, I did not know a quality of Jessica Fletcher. I've never known that to be the case.
No.
But
It was very weird.
Yeah. But he's like, fine, I believe you. And then she's like, by the way, you are gonna find him at such and such a time, at such and such a place, right?
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah. And then he's nowhere to be found. And so, but the next day, 2 children find his body washed up on the beach.
I love it.
And one of them lets out an ear-splitting scream.
Yeah, which, admittedly, they should.
Yeah, but it just seems, it's very much, the director goes, okay, scream now. And the kid's like, okay, and just lets it rip. It's very undirected.
Yeah.
Like...
During the course of this, she's down. She goes to the sheriff's office. This is a very funny sequence. There's some solid, just comedy bits in this show, and I was very appreciative of it. She goes to the sheriff's office, and like one of the deputies is like, "I can't tell you where the sheriff is because he told me not to." And then she picks up a phone call. It's like, "Oh yeah, the sheriff's down by the beach. He received an anonymous tip on a note this morning, so he went down to the beach and then he found the dead body." And then Jessica books it out of there, and she's like, "No!" It's very good. It's very funny.
Yeah, so it is.
Yeah, and Jessica goes down to the beach, and Sheriff Tupper is just like, "Oh boy, she's back." He's so put upon in this episode. And then he's like, "Well, you're here. Might as well see the note." There's a very funny exchange because Jessica goes "Evening, Ethan," and Ethan goes "Afternoon, Jessica," and it's just very silly. It's just they have a great rapport.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have this pair of shoes now at the place where that Ralph or Mr. Earl was shot, or at least wound up. And Jessica's like, by the way, I suspect to the coroner, I suspect that this person wasn't even in the water for 12 hours and that kind of thing. So they bring the body to the local funeral parlor, and they have the sisters confirm that it's them. And
yes.
Oh wait, hold on. We missed something big.
Mm-hmm.
We missed Jessica overhearing the interrogation of Maggie. Maggie finds out that he is in fact really dead, and she's like, "No, that can't be. He can't actually be dead." And the sheriff or the officer is like, "You literally confessed to killing this man. What do you mean he can't be dead?" And then it turns out that Maggie and the father had cooked up this fake murder plot to try to trap Nan's gold digging ex-fiance or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he does indeed show up to be like, "Hey, you okay? Are you doing good? I heard your dad died. By the way, would love to marry you now."
Yeah.
Again, because that's not suspicious.
Yeah, he got paid by the father to leave and like to never come back.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. That's the disconnect. That's where I was not picking up, but that's right. Yeah.
I think it's at this point that Jessica explains to the sheriff that the millionaire was the hobo that was hanging out at her house, so he could not have been shot on the boat. His theory is dead in the water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's confirmed by the pipe. It's confirmed by the pipe being in his pocket that Jessica gave it to him. So she's like, see, told you.
Right. Yeah. So.
Ooh. Sorry, this brings up one of my favorite parts in the episode, and I had this written down.
Please.
The husband of what's the blonde sister's name?
Grace.
Oh,
Lisa, right? She's Lisa Earle Shelby, right?
Okay. Yeah, right? That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the husband is there, and he's like, Mrs. Fletcher, it would have been helpful for me to actually write the characters down, not just the quotes of what they said.
Yeah, maybe.
I just said husband. So the husband says, Mrs. Fletcher, you seem like a very sweet old gal. This is a family affair. We don't need strangers poking their noses where they don't belong. To which Jessica replies, I beg your pardon, Mr. Shelby. But Mr. Earle was no stranger, not to me. And as for my nose, it's right where it belongs.
Oh, yes.
She cycles off.
It's really iconic.
I assume
so good.
Out of frame, she gives him the bird.
She's always so polite to everyone, but also just shuts them down. She takes absolutely no BS, but she does it in the most polite possible way.
Mm-hmm. She's very charming. And
I love it so much.
Fan.
So good.
I think she talks to the gold digger next, right?
Yeah. So, okay. Yes. I think so.
In the meantime, the body has been confirmed, and the time of death has also been confirmed by the county coroner.
Yeah.
They did an autopsy. So that's set in stone. And then we go to Nan and the gold digger in the park with the pipe.
I love that we're just calling him the gold digger and not actually bothering to figure out his name.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So yes.
They're in the park. And he's like, we should get married. And she's like, not now.
The timing seems wrong with my father dying and stuff.
Jessica rolls in.
Yeah, and she's kind of like, she like knows that that he knew about the murder because someone pretending to be a reporter rang him up to get a quote about his death. And he tells Jessica he gave him a quote, but he won't repeat it. To which Jessica says, another one of my favorite quotes, I'm familiar with most Anglo-Saxon words.
Yes. That's great.
So Gold Digger was like, yeah, I flew up to see Nan. She met me at the airport. And that's where she was during the first Airbnb questioning. I say Airbnb because I can't just say B&B anymore.
Oh, man. What a time.
So Nan met him at the airport after being filled in on the plot.
Yes.
And I think Jessica goes back to the sheriff, but gets... Are
we at the shoe point yet? Because they are looking at the evidence and there's...
she's on her way to the sheriff, but then this happens, what you're about to talk about.
Okay. So yes, they had discovered these shoes, and then she went and found the heel. And she and the sheriff go to the B&B to be like, because Jessica's like, I think, like, let me take this one. I have an idea. And so she goes and chats with Nan about it. And she asks Nan to try on the shoes. And Nan obliges her, and you see her take off her slipper or whatever she's wearing and put the shoe on her bare foot. And it is a perfect fit. And, you know, the sheriff is like, oh, well, since we did find that at the crime scene, I'm going to go ahead and guess that we should arrest you. Because she's like, I've never worn these. I don't know what's going on. But yes, those are my shoes. He's like, but like, it looks real bad because those were at the crime scene. And Jessica's like, but no, I mean, I never said she did it. I just said those were her shoes. And Sheriff Tupper's very confused. And so is Nan. But Jessica says, you know, we should probably take her in anyway. You should probably take her down to the station. And so they make it look like Nan's been arrested. And they say, in fact, that she has. And Gold Digger comes down to the sheriff station and really reveals himself to be how does this
was like,
yeah, go ahead.
Sheriff is like, well, accomplices to murder are not treated well. We better hope that, because her whole alibi was that she was with him that night, but there's no real way to prove it because the times don't match up. Mm-hmm. And so he could be accused of being accomplice to murder. And he's like, you know what? Actually, I have some business I need to take care of it over in business place. I got a business while I go do business. And he just straight up jets off to the moon. He just goes away so fast. And Nance overhears all of this and is very disappointed.
Yeah, she comes out from the other room where she is clearly not in jail cell. And and it's like, well, I guess it's better that you found out sooner rather than later. And she's like, yeah, is he? But Jessica has asked both Amos and Nan to make sure that the evidence about the shoe is not known to anybody.
Do you think the sheriff senses that something is amiss?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amos?
Sure.
I suppose so.
Amos.
Okay. Amos.
Yeah. Oh. That's good.
Well, like day 7 of the quarantine, haven't done stand-up in a while. You can't win them all. Man, everybody's going to be so rusty when we get back to this.
Jessica pays a visit to the other sisters again.
Where she promptly tells them all about the shoes.
Yep. And at this point, we should probably take a break.
Oh, yeah.
Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary folk. We here at Amateur Detective Club would love your support and help. Please visit patreon.com/ADCpod.
And give us money.
Yeah, we're also on the Scavengers Network.
Yes, we are indeed.
You can go to scavengersnetwork.com. I can't believe he didn't go with scavengersnetwork.net. You can go to scavengersnetwork.com and take a look at the other programming they have. They've been doing a bunch of live streams of video games, including the Jackbox game set, which has been fun to watch. And I was on that for a little bit, a couple of days ago.
They're trying to keep everybody entertained during the quarantine. Scavenger's doing a really good job.
I did say this on Twitter, and I am upset that we were 1 year away of calling it 20 quarantine. It couldn't have come earlier. Such a shame. Truly. Yeah. That's my biggest concern right now.
Okay.
Speaking of staying entertained, though, during quarantine, I guess. I mean, there's no real name other than that, I guess. Yeah. Yes. Trying times. Company of Fools is doing a series of readings called The Plague Plays. If you want, you can visit Company of Fools, which is companyoffoolstheater.com for more information on how to stream those plays, what plays are going to be performed, and at what time.
Yeah. Tyler and I have both read in those plays this week. And
the same one, though, which is unfortunate.
I know, not the same one. Cameron, if you are listening...
We should try and get him to do black coffee.
Shit.
Or we should just do it. One of the two.
We should probably just do it.
Well, in conjunction, maybe. I don't know. We'll iron out the deets later. Yeah.
Now that we're just during our ad break coming up with ideas and spitballing.
Listen. People want to see the behind the scenes, how the sausage is made. But yeah, and then you can always go to the Audible thing. We did that at the top of the show, so please just go there. But yeah, that's
listen to audiobooks.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Ashley.
And thank you all for bearing with us as we figure out how to record best during this quarantine and still keep content going while we can't be in the same room or in a studio or really anywhere.
We're all in a liminal space. We're all in purgatory right now.
We are absolutely in purgatory. This is the medium place.
What should have been the fourth Toy Story? Purgatory Story should have been the thing. They should have died in that trash chute.
Oh,
and then
gone to purgatory, except for the aliens who do go straight to heaven.
The claw picks them up and brings them into the next life, where they teach the new toys how to, do the things.
Thanks for listening.
Are we still in the ad break? Is this still the ad break?
Yeah, it is. So let's go back to the...
Wait, no, let's not. Unless you want to do this at the end. Well, I guess I've gotten you all excited now.
You got us here.
We're going to put up a couple more Murder, She Wrote episodes only on Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, this is real incentive. Do you like hearing me talk about Angela Lansbury? You better say yes.
Otherwise, she's going to come to your home.
And breathe on you or something. Oh, God.
She's going to fight you in these streets.
No, but seriously, hop onto the Patreon. Listen to some good old Murder, She Wrote content. And... I'm
an Angela Stansbury.
That's right.
Oh, there it is.
So the more support you can give us, the better. We really appreciate you bearing with us during these weird times.
And speaking of that, it's at the $1 level. So it's really just you give us $1 and you get those episodes. It's really affordable. During this time, it's really important to also look to people who are artists or freelancers, because a lot of us, read me, lost their jobs or are going to lose their jobs, and it's meaning you. So it's really important that you support your local artists. Also, to what Melissa was saying, is we're going to start doing these weekly because we have nothing but time on our hands. So here we go.
And we're back. So Jessica is at the B&B with the other sister, and she's talking to them about these shoes, and she's trying to figure out, were these, was Nan definitely wearing these shoes? Mm-hmm. And asks a couple of the other sisters if they wouldn't mind if she searched their room for the shoes, because she doesn't have them with. She's kind of going under the pretense that they're looking for the shoes and trying to figure out whose room they're in.
Mm-hmm, and because she has the heel.
Yes, that's right. And she has the heel, but she doesn't have it with her, which is important because she's not shown it to them.
Yeah.
So, she does have it with her. She just doesn't. Whatever. I'm cutting, really dicing. What's the term? Mincing words. Yeah. There it is. So
Order she wrote. Is that anything? No.
No. But one of the sisters is completely incensed at the idea that she would want to search her room. Another one says, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and search my room. And then Maggie says, yep, I mean, I have no problem with you searching my room at all, but Nan and I were not the same size, and pink really isn't my color. And then she hands Maggie a bag. Maggie a baggie. And
says,
she
give this to the sheriff.
Yeah, and she says, peace, and she goes home. And at home, she hears her window being broken. And you see boots going up steps. And
creaky steps.
Creaky steps. And she then, you see Jessica sitting in her living room, I guess, in a chair, where you can then see finally Maggie standing there, having just broken into her home. And Maggie and Jessica have a chat. And Jessica says, well, if it makes any difference, I knew it was you before the shoes. However, the shoes gave it away because I never mentioned that the shoes were pink. So clearly you planted them. And you also did the setup so that Nan would be sure. You were the one who called Gold Digger, ex-fiance, to say, hey, Dad's dead, so that he would be, she would be gone during the time that he was actually killed, so she wouldn't have a solid, that the dad was actually killed, so she wouldn't have a solid alibi. And then Maggie says, well, yeah, I really hated my dad, and he loved Nan, and was so good to Nan all the time, and I did all this stuff for him, and so he had to die, and she had to go down for it. And she pulls a gun out of her pocket, and Jessica's like, she says, I really hate to kill you, Jessica. I do love you, but I have to. And they will just...
only one that was really turned on during that monologue where she was about to kill Jessica. It's me.
So,
okay.
So I'm gonna. Okay. No.
Turned on.
No. She does some good acting though. She almost cries. She got some of that. Got some of that Emmy juice going. But no, I'm sorry, Tyler. You are alone on this.
Sorry, friend. But she says it will look like a burglar just broke in and you got in his way. And Jessica's like, knuckle crack. Really now? I don't think you want to do that. And reveals that she has had the receiver off the hook the entire time because she called the sheriff immediately and he's listening into the entire conversation. And then she picks up the phone and says, I think you better come down here. And he comes down and arrests Maggie, who did it all along.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time he wasn't dead, and then the second time he was, and she really did shoot him.
Nice in the chest with a different kind of gun. Very smart that way.
Yes. Different kind of gun than she was revealed to have.
Yes. What y'all think?
I thought it was a very enjoyable episode of Murder, She Wrote. One of the first, of course. And so really setting the scene. Oh, one thing that is totally bizarre that I forgot happens in Murder, She Wrote is they do little intercut scenes from the episode about to come right at the top of it.
Yeah.
Where you hear people confessing to murders and hear really seemingly important. It's a weird trailer for the episode at the top.
Which is very strange. I think
so
some
bizarre.
animes do that. but other than that, I've never seen anything like that in television.
Yeah, and now that I am thinking about it, Murder, She Wrote did that pretty consistently. So I had just totally forgotten about it. But regardless, and the opening is always a delight, seeing her ride around her bike with a basket in Cabot Cove. My boyfriend is humming it in the background. But yeah, no, it was a pretty solid Murder, She Wrote episode. I think I'm gonna give it a how many are we doing? How many typewriter? Out of 5? Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 to 4 typewriters.
Very cool. I thought it was really enjoyable. Like 4.5 out of 5. Solid comedy, very engaging. Like I watched Poirot and then I watched this one, and going from one to the other is like so clearly how they're paced differently and how much more engaging. And I think it's like the difference between American and British television. That people, you can't just are like, well, this is the kind of story we're telling. It's slow. If you don't like it, it's fine. Whereas, like, I feel like with American shows, they're like even the cuts are quicker, and like the scenes are smaller, and it's just like, I don't know. I think you could already see that people were adapting to the quote unquote MTV television style during this time. But yeah, it was really funny. She's really solid, very good performances all around. But specifically, her and Ethan have I like their rapport a lot. It's very, very, very well done. Very funny. A lot of comedy in this one. Side note, there's an episode of Monster Factory where they make Jessica Fletcher, but she investigates dinosaur mysteries because there's a game with dinosaurs. Highly recommend you look it up. It's very funny. Very weird. So yeah, solid 4 out of 5. The other reason 4.5 out of 5. The other reason that 0.5 is there is because this is the second episode, so I have no idea if it gets better from here. Very strong start.
Yeah.
Tyler.
4 out of 5. I had a great time. Angela Lansbury is always a treasure. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought, but I had a lot of fun.
4 out of 5 for you too? Anything else?
Yeah, just
that's all.
Hop on our Patreon, and at the $1 level, we're gonna record a couple more of these. We don't, not immediately, but we'll have some new episodes for you in the coming weeks, because we're here. We might as well record some podcasts. Yeah, and we're also, once again, going weekly, so that'll be fun. For at least a little bit. We'll see how long that lasts. But it might last as long as till August. We'll freaking see. We'll see. All right, I call this... It's an adventure.
City of the world.
All right, I call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to a close.